Hello and welcome to Faith and Freedom, live from the Man Cave Cuckoo's Nest with Ted. Welcome, Ted.
I feel welcome. This is the Man Cave Cuckoo's Nest, the arsenal of democracy, the epicenter of we the people. Happy 250th birthday of Real America. I love Real America, especially Real America's Voice, especially my Faith and Freedom pal here. I love this woman.
Before we get into the topic of conversation, which is not a pleasant one, we're going to be talking about the screwworm.
Oh my.
I want to talk about something that's really important, obviously, to all of us, and that's our health. And, you know, there might be safe and inexpensive potential cancer treatments available just for you. And it's a drug that many of us already know about, and that's called ivermectin. And there's a new study that shows individuals who take ivermectin, like we do, the parasite fighting medication that gained fame during COVID, along with mebendazole, saw remarkable results in their battles with cancer. Now, these incredibly promising results have a lot of Americans wondering, where can they get this drug too?
Over the counter now.
So ivermectin and mebendazole, that's where the wellness company comes in. You see and hear from TWC doctors all the time on this network, and you know that their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy. The wellness company is making 100% American-made ivermectin and mebendazole available to my audience at an incredibly affordable price. So all you got to do is say no to Big Pharma's greed and their poisons and say yes to a company that you can trust to bring you safe, affordable, and effective treatments. If you're interested, you can go to twc.health/Shemane to get your order. twc.health/Shemane. They've got lots of different products that we use, but don't forget twc.health/Shemane.
And let's emphasize that, because you should have a fire extinguisher and you should have the wellness company first aid basics in your home. And Shemane and I celebrate independence, preparedness. So that's not just a sponsor for our First Amendment freedom on Real America's Voice. It's something I believe is imperative for someone to manage their family and be prepared. The wellness company, right?
Yep. And a lot of people are you worried about? Well, no, we're prepared. We have, like Ted said, we have fire extinguishers. But talk about, I want to get into this because we don't have a lot of time, and it flies by with you all the time. You're so knowledgeable about this topic that I needed to bring you in, and it's not a pleasant one. It's the screwworm. So what is it? And how does it affect us?
Well, a lot of people think the term New World Screwworm identifies the Democrat Party. And it certainly does. But there is a fly that is, in the history of America, wiped out the cattle industry and wildlife back in the late 60s. It's called the New World Screwworm. And it's basically a fly that when it finds an open wound, especially with all the fawns being born across America, that umbilical cord is a target of this horrible, horrible fly. And it lays its eggs, and the larvae will literally eat its host alive. And it will destroy entire herds of cattle and wildlife. And Texas Parks and Wildlife, I've never liked anything they've done in the past, but at least we're working with the great Secretary of USDA, Rollins, to mitigate this. We're literally paying to create billions of neutered, basically neuter flies so that they will infest the fly population and they won't reproduce. But right now, it's a real threat. And 3 cases have been found north of the Mexican border here in Texas. But we have real scientists and real biologists working on this, but it's called the New World Screwworm, and it's a threat to our livestock industry and wildlife. But hopefully the bureaucrats that don't handle anything correctly, hopefully they'll handle this one correctly. So we wish Secretary Rollins and the different wildlife agencies Godspeed, but we the people have to put pressure on them. There's only one way to mitigate this destruction of livestock and wildlife, and that is to release billions of neuter, speaking of neuter, that would be the Democrat Party, neuter flies so they can't reproduce. Boy, I wish the Democrats wouldn't reproduce. But bottom line is, it's a dangerous situation. I don't make light of it, but we're on top of it as best we can right now.
So you talked about this before, that they actually did this once
in the 60s,
in the 60s once before, and it was successful. What causes it? And then the follow-up question is, and I know the answer to this, but I want you to explain, can it affect our pets?
Well, that fly has always been around that creates these maggots that literally eat their host alive. It's like some of the bacteria you found in some of the ponds across America, where some of those entities will literally get into someone's system through digesting pond water, and these beasts literally eat live hosts from the inside out. But the New World screwworm is the most dangerous and threatening of all time. And once again, we're on top of it the best we can. But that fly has always existed. But we created a barrier back in the late 1960s, early 70s with this unleashing of neutered flies, that the screwworm fly had never come north of South America, but it came into Mexico earlier or later last year. And our government knew about it, but they were slow in reacting. Hopefully they're speeding it up. But we had a barrier in Mexico where it wasn't coming north of that. But now it is north of that. There have been 2 calves, a dog, and one other animal. A dog in New Mexico got it, and they had to put it down because these maggots will literally eat the host alive from the inside. I've seen photos of it, and it is as ugly and nasty and dangerous as can be.
It makes me sick to my stomach. And when you talk about the government getting involved in this, mitigating this process, the first thing that comes to my mind, Ted, unfortunately, is, do we trust the government with anything? And follow-up question is, how do we know if there was a bad guy and you wanted to wipe out the food supply?
Bill Gates?
I didn't say that.
I did.
I mean, isn't this how you would do it? Introduce a screwworm into...
Well, there's a lot of information out there that Bill Gates and his humanity-hating monster devils have released all these ticks, that they now have a tick with a Texas tick with a little white spot on it, that once it bites you and infests you with their poison, that you become allergic to meat. So there is a believability. I won't call it a conspiracy theory because the CIA came up with that. Yeah. So we could mitigate and lie about the Kennedy assassination et al. But bottom line is, no, I don't trust Uncle Sham, but Donald Trump is the best that we have. Compared to the opposition, Donald Trump is Michael the Archangel compared to the devils out there. And he's doing the right thing. He's got Burgum in charge of the Department of the Interior. We've opened up 100 million acres of we the people, American citizens' land to hunting, fishing, and trapping. And I'll be getting on with Laura Ingraham soon here today on Fox News, because Oregon is trying to ban hunting, fishing, and trapping, which means you're going to ban nature, because you have to reduce these animals' numbers, because the animals expand their population, but the earth and habitat does not. So there's a lot of insanity. So Burgum's the right guy. Rollins is the right gal. I believe that Trump has surrounded himself with knowing, caring, knowledgeable, qualified individuals in their given work orders. And with Hunter Nation, I got to tell you, go to hunternation.org. HunterNation.org is an army of conservative families who are demanding conservative Christian constitutional conservation accountability from our elected employees. I cannot emphasize this enough, Shemane. Keith Mark is in Washington, D.C. on a nonstop basis, meeting with these bureaucrats to stop the screwworm, to stop the chronic wasting disease lies. So no, we don't trust the government, but maybe the New World screwworm will cause these people to abandon their chronic wasting disease scam because of the pressure from HunterNation.org. We're going to put it on the screen in post-production. HunterNation.org. You should be a member. You should be an activist. You should be putting pressure on our elected employees for constitutional accountability. That all came out of the mouth of a guitar player. So if I can do it, everybody should and can.
When we got sick with toxic mold, one of the first books that I read was called Lab 257.
Yes.
And it's about how the government introduced Lyme disease and as biological germ warfare in Lab 257 on Plum Island off the coast of Connecticut, which just happened to follow the migratory bird path. When the birds came and got bit by the ticks, all the birds went up and down the coast. You can follow that migratory bird path and see where concentrated cases of Lyme disease actually are. So it's really unfortunate. But one other thing I wanted to follow up with you about before we go, Ted, is something that is near and dear to our hearts. It's not playing with toys while we're
This is
talking.
a wild boar skull.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
This is a wild boar head from the pork police. Who doesn't want to be a pork policer?
Okay. Let's talk about something near and dear to our heart. Both of our hearts.
GetUncleTeds.com.
Yes.
We have been getting unsolicited testimonials from families who love our dogs. People's quality of life literally pivots on the health and friskiness and longevity of our beloved dogs. And most of the stuff on the shelf out there is toxic and poison, and it's reducing the health and the longevity of our dogs, which reduces our happiness. So we got some mad scientists, some dedicated biologists and dog lovers, and came up with natural organic supplements for our dogs. And people have been testifying emotionally that since using GetUncleTeds.com, we're going to put it on the screen, the whole segment, GetUncleTeds.com, all of a sudden their dogs are upbeat, frisky, alive, energized, and they live longer. GetUncleTeds.com. They bring our First Amendment and our happiness because we love our dogs.
Well, thank you, Ted, so much for joining me and letting me use the man cave cuckoo's nest here. Watch Ted's show, Spirit Campfire, that's here, right here on Real America's Voice every week. And thank you so much to Real America's Voice. God bless you all. We'll be right back. I am 63 years old. I'll be 64 in a few weeks. And I don't do hormone replacement therapy. I don't do peptides. I don't spend 2 hours a day in the gym. And I know a lot of people are jumping on the next best trend. But here to discuss what actually works is my friend, Dr. Bryan Ardis. Dr. Ardis, welcome.
It is great to be here again on Faith and Freedom. How are you?
I'm good. So what are your thoughts? We've got all these detoxification programs and supplements and cleanses, and what works and what doesn't?
Yeah. So what you brought up first was hormone replacement therapy. And I'll just say there's millions of women, unfortunately, and men, but we'll talk mostly about women who've actually been mutilated, in my opinion, by having their organs removed, such as their ovaries and their uterus, for something you very commonly hear of a total hysterectomy or a partial hysterectomy. So I will just say here, there are many, many complications to having your ovaries removed, even 10 years down the road. The majority of people who have their ovaries removed, who no longer can produce normal estrogen levels and then need hormone replacement therapy, for example, they experience all kinds of risks and complications from just having no ability to produce their own natural hormones and instead have to do hormone replacement therapy. Even if you think just taking out your organs that God gave you, as Mother Nature and God designed for it to produce hormones to keep you mentally, emotionally, and physically healthy, if you think bioidentical hormones are just as good, you are very mistaken. And I promise in the next 10 years, you're going to find out just how awful it is. The risk factor for increased risk of cancers, increased risk of cardiovascular disease, photophobia, light sensitivity, dry eyes, Sjogren's-like symptoms, dry mouth, dry nose, you name it, are all complications of no longer being able to produce normal amounts of estrogen. And it doesn't matter what you try, estradiol or other hormone replacement therapies, you're never going to get the same benefits as how your body designed itself to produce its own normal amounts of hormones like estrogen. But this is a very, very complicated issue for so many, because once you have those removed, regardless of the reasoning, you are going to need some source of hormones. And for many, it's hormone replacement therapy shots, hormone replacement therapy creams, hormone replacement therapy pellets, which all come with their own side effects and risks.
You know, this is probably too much information for a lot of people, but I had a tubal pregnancy about 30 years ago, and I had to have a fallopian tube removed. And I think there's not a way I can say for sure. I think it was because at the time I was living in that home that was contaminated with toxic mold. And a lot of people don't understand the effects that toxic mold can have on your body and other environmental illnesses too. And it's one of those things where, again, I don't know for sure, but I kind of know that that's what caused it. So whatever it is that is happening to people, whether it's environmental toxins or they decide to do this on their own, get something removed, they're jumping on the bandwagon of the hormone replacement therapy and peptides and the GLP-1s to lose weight rather than getting back to doing it the good old-fashioned way. So what are your thoughts on peptides?
Yeah, I get asked all the time about peptides because I dumped on the world about 4 years ago a documentary called Watch the Water, which was to expose the use of venom peptides all over the world, including in COVID, including in long COVID patients. Those were vaccinated. Their body were producing these venom-like spike proteins that you call peptides. Little bitty short pieces of protein are called peptides. And peptides have become super popular right now. Some of those peptides are a Gila monster lizard, or Gila, Gila. I pronounce it Gila. You might pronounce it Gila. Gila monster lizard venom is what has been isolated, a peptide called Exendin-4. And that's what they call it. And that's what's in Ozempic Wegovy. It's this short little piece of venom protein from these creatures. And you'll see what the issue is when you inject that kind of venomous-based peptide into the human body. Look at the $2 billion lawsuit that was just filed in September of 2025 against the makers of Ozempic. For people waking up, over 2,000 complainants. When I saw the last list, it was 2,000 people injecting themselves unknowingly with this peptide, which they only see on the label as GLP-1, which is a hormone. There is no GLP-1 hormone inside of Ozempic or Wegovy or any of these GLP-1 drugs. What you're injecting inside of you is supposed to stimulate that hormone's release. Well, inside of Ozempic and Wegovy is this venom-based protein peptide from the venom of this lizard, and it has created 2,000 people, last I saw, who are now in a class action lawsuit for a total $2 billion worth of claims for this settlement with Ozempic. They woke up while using Ozempic 100% blind in one eye, permanent for life. And I'm not sure losing your vision for not taking the time to do your own research on the source of the peptide you are voluntarily injecting inside of yourself, whether it micro doses, macro doses, normal doses, it doesn't matter. If I were you, many cosmetics, many injectable products, including hormone replacement therapy or other products called biologics, they include peptides. For any peptide on an ingredient label of any kind, for a drug, a package insert, a cosmetic product, take the name of the peptide. It's usually got an acronym with a number. Take that and copy and paste it into Google and paste it in there, then type the next words. What is the source of this peptide? And very often you will find it is isolated from cone snail venom, scorpion venom, spider venom, snake venom. I would avoid, it's my opinion, I would avoid all venom-based peptides on Earth, but there are protein peptides that are being sold and marketed around the world that are not venom-based. This is my warning to you. The venom-based peptides are not, just as all vaccines have been told you your whole life, which are not also, they are not all safe and effective. And you're learning that from the fallout of people related to Ozempic lawsuit claims. So it's not all roses when it comes to peptides, but there are some miraculous peptides providing some benefit to the human body for those that use them. I would always do your own research. Is this venom-based or not?
Like what? What about collagen peptides? What are the good peptides?
No, well, let me show you an example of a bad peptide. You ready? Stay right there. Hold on. It's ready. Ready? So I traveled to Montana a couple years ago, and a lady invited us into their home for dinner. And she held this up and said, I want to give this to you. Now, this was what was on Facebook, and she did not know that what it was in it. She just knew it was a peptide-based anti-wrinkle cream that you can buy on Facebook. She saw a Facebook advertisement. As soon as it came, she didn't even open it. She knew I was coming the very next week. It actually is called Conopeptide Essence. In this jar is 84% cone snail venom. This deadly venom, the most deadly venomous snail in the world, found in all of our oceans. But the name of the product is Eelhoe, E-E-L-H-O-E, serum for anti-wrinkle cream. The moment she saw that it was cone snail venom peptides, 84% in the mix, she immediately handed it to me and said, I have never put this on my body. If you want to know what cone snail venom does in the human body, look at every side effect, disease outcome, fatality of COVID-19. 100% of all COVID-19 patients had this cone snail venom, 15 different cone snail venoms inside their blood, urine, and feces, as determined and published by the incredible Dr. Carlo Brogna in Italy, over and over and over.
So that cone snail venom, and I remember there was a craze. I'd go into a, Ulta or Sephora or whatever, and there was a time where they put, this is the latest, greatest thing from Korean women that are using this snail cream, and they try to market it like it's natural because it's from a snail, right? Wrong.
Also, one thing, Shemane, check this out. This same cone snail venom, by the way, has been turned into a prescription drug only found in hospitals to block pain that doesn't react to morphine or other anti-pain drugs. But the drug is called Prialt. And I invite all of you at home, the brand name is Prialt. The generic name is Ziconotide, Ziconotide, for the cone snail venom. Do you know that under the psychiatric side effects of this pain-killing drug from the venom of a cone snail, I quote, "The person who receives this venom injection for pain often will display these symptoms psychologically. They will hold to false beliefs, even in the presence of facts." Isn't that amazing?
Seriously?
That's actually a published side effect of cone snail venom in the human body. And it made me realize, if they know this is a side effect of cone snail venom, and every COVID-19 positive patient had these venoms in their blood, urine, and feces, why do you think everybody believed in the bat coughed in China narrative, even when you showed everybody the evidence of lab creation, gain of function testing, the use of venoms, the isolation of venoms, and DNA lab tests around the world? It doesn't matter. You could show them all the facts you want. They've got a poison that makes them subdued and only follow MK Ultra-like programming brainwashing.
So they were putting that cone snail venom in the COVID-19 vaccine.
No, they actually, they put DNA plasmids that make the body produce those proteins found in every single person's body during COVID, called COVID-19. And that involved 20 different snake venom peptides, a starfish venom peptides called the crown of thorns starfish, and 15 different cone snail venoms called conotoxins were found in every COVID-19 patient's bodies, positive bodies, the long COVID bodies. Remember, these are what they called spike proteins, and the mRNA vaccines got your body to manufacture these venom peptides. So all of the horrible blood clots, turbo cancers, psychiatric dysfunctions, mental cognitive impairments you're seeing as a result of the COVID-19 vaccines, they have been genetically engineered in their body to produce these poisons internally. Forever.
Unbelievable. Can you stick around one more segment? Because we're just getting started.
Of course.
Okay. All this makes me want to have a good night's sleep even more. How can you have a good night's sleep? MyPillow.com. Go to MyPillow.com. They've got great sheets and towels that actually absorb and are fluffy and soft. But the dog beds, I actually like the dog beds because I've laid on the dog beds before with my dogs. But the pillows and the robes and the slippers, but plus the most important thing is Mike Lindell's a true patriot, and he needs our help. He needs your help. And he and his team are actually giving you a discount. Go to mypillow.com and use the promo code FAITH for a discount. mypillow.com and use the promo code FAITH for a discount. They'll make a great Father's Day gift. Shh. Joining me back again is Dr. Bryan Ardis. Dr. Ardis, thank you for coming back. We were just talking off air. Tell me what you just told me.
Yeah, it was exciting. I just even texted you an image from the back of the bottle. I just told you, Shemane, I said off air. I said, yeah, it's really crazy because there's a brand, this new high-end shampoo and conditioner brand called Vegamore. And I had to buy their shampoo and conditioner online. I have not used it, because what I sent to you via text, maybe you can put in there post-production if you want to, but it actually reads on the ingredient deck, right on the back here. It actually says wasp and spider polypeptides. So they have spider venom peptides, wasp venom peptides right in your new shampoo. And I only brought that up because I remember a couple of years ago watching Nicole Kidman be the spokesperson for this new brand. I went and looked at the ingredients and I was like, oh my God, they're putting the venom peptides inside these shampoos and conditioners and these products. So if you're wondering how venom is getting inside of your body, did you know everything you put on the human body absorbs through the skin within seconds to get into your bloodstream? Which it's why it's so important that we teach people to filter their water, distill their water, get the fluoride, aluminum, other toxins out of it. but you're going to absorb everything you put on your skin as a cosmetic as well. And venoms are not weird. Please do not freak out. If you've ever heard the word Botox or you've ever done Botox, Botox is the short name of the venom made by a bacteria called botulinum. That's the actual Botox. Botox is venom from a bacteria. So the country's been injecting themselves with Botox for years, called venom, and they're just putting venom from all kinds of creatures into everything we're exposing ourselves to. And venom has a very, very toxic, powerful side effect to every tissue of the human body.
And I'll be honest, I have had Botox before. I started getting it I was getting terrible migraines when I was in that MTV Cribs house where I was sick with toxic mold. And there was a USA Today article about how Botox would help with migraines. And at that point, I wanted to try anything. So I did try it. I have used it. And up until last year, and like every other woman out there, trying to get rid of wrinkles. But you know what I did this Lent, I gave up Botox for Lent.
Well, there you go. Congratulations.
And you know what?
I'm going venomless for Lent. Yeah, I like that. That's good.
That's good. I'm going venomless. I think it's really important. And thank goodness my husband isn't one of those guys. I've got a lot of friends that do all the latest things and lifts and lips and fillers and stuff and cheekbones. And my husband just says, would you leave your body alone? And I think it's really important. And one of the things I want to switch back to is how more people, I think, especially women, since we're talking about women, they're trying to get back to our roots, learning how to live off the land, learning about how nature is healer and how putting your feet in the soil can actually help you, and getting sunlight while we still have it and Bill Gates doesn't block it is good for you. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Oh, yeah, I love that. Now, let's just talk about the anti-aging benefits of Botox for a second. Then let's go to the grounding, the earth, the sunlight. Let's do all that. All right. So something maybe very exciting for your audiences. I'm not sure if you know this, but even the BBC reported a couple of years ago on a research study that was conducted. And the researchers actually termed what they were studying. They called this amino acid that is not a venom-based peptide or a peptide at all. This amino acid is called taurine. In the research study, they said taurine, this amino acid, at 1,500 milligrams a day is what they were studying. They said is an elixir of life. So it literally was proven in animal studies from rhesus monkeys that were 15 years old, all the way down to mice, rabbits, ferrets, you name it. They were able to increase the longevity, reduce the aging speed. Doesn't matter what you think is evidence of aging. Every bit of aging was reduced and elongated by 10% for all males, 12% longer lifespans and youthfulness for 12% of all, a 12% increase for all females that they ever used this with. And now it's being used with human beings, and they are seeing longevity, youthfulness, anti-wrinkles, healthy collagen levels. They're seeing cardiovascular outcomes from one simple amino acid you can supplement called taurine. So if you want longer life, more energy, more youthfulness, even looking and complexion, taurine would be the first thing I would go for, along with a combination of selenium and N-acetylcysteine for glutathione. These are just things that you can do at home that you can just swallow that have shown proven benefit for years in medical research.
And what about nicotine? Does that help at all?
Nicotine is anti-inflammatory. So if you want to talk about aging, they consider normal aging to include joint pain, restricted motion and movement. No, nicotine actually is a very powerful anti-inflammatory. It also is immune boosting and supportive. So yes, you can actually minimize the pain, the inflammation that most seniors, elderly, you name it, all of us as we age start to experience. You can minimize all of those supposed evidences of aging by actually using an anti-inflammatory substance like nicotine. And if you don't want to wear a nicotine product or chew it, then you can obviously eat your nightshade vegetables, eggplant, tomatoes, squash, zucchinis that are loaded with nicotine also, but they provide the same benefit.
I've got my nicotine patch on right now.
So do I.
I know you've talked about this a million times before, but just for people who are just watching you for the first time here, what's the proper way to use nicotine?
Yeah. So with nicotine, I recommend currently, and in my book, Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies, chapter 13 is everything related to nicotine. So which brands I recommend, what dosing, how to start, how to use it as preventative, long-term, chronic use. I use it every single day and have for 5 years now, and I will not stop. I will use nicotine, the benefits and health benefits of nicotine until the day I die. So the brand I use is called Tola Vita. Since my book came out, a new company which manufactures their products out of California, they use tobacco natural extract is what they put on these patches. And then they also have star anise oil, clove oil, and other essential oils that also provide immune benefits. So it's a much more natural source of nicotine from the tobacco extract. I wear it every single day, and they have a 3 milligram nicotine patch, little coin circular patch that everyone I would recommend to start with as adults. I would start with a 3 milligram patch somewhere on the body. I put mine on my rib cage. I do opposite rib cage sides each day with a new patch. I wear a 7 milligram nicotine patch every single day at least, but for the first year or so, I did a 3 milligram patch, then moved up to 7 milligrams. But for most people and most research studies around the world proclaiming, showing, and concluding the health benefits of nicotine, they usually study 7 milligram doses in patch form for a week. So I usually tell people you're trying to get to 7 milligrams within a week. So I would do 3 milligrams for a week. Then after that week, move up to 7 milligrams and then stay on that 7 milligram dose if you're going to try it. So that's where I would go. And then I'd also make sure you're studying and doing your own research. I have a PowerPoint for free you can download. It's 387 slides if you'd like to see all the medical research and all the highlights from them on the health benefits of nicotine. It is called The Other N Word. It's free to download at the resources tab of the Dr. Ardis Show, or you can buy my book, and chapter 13 summarizes the majority of the information there. And it's called Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies. And then when you get back to the how do you stay healthy, youthful, and young using nature, I'm just going to tell you right now, I have an older wife. Actually, my wife is older than you, Shemane, and she does grounding every single day. We sleep on a grounding mat. We sleep on a grounding sheet. We go outside and spend time in the sun every single day to get our red light. We have red light saunas, and everybody that looks at my wife, I'm not even joking, thinks she's my age or within a 5-year period of my age. And she is not, but she has done a lot to maintain her health the way that it is, not altered, all natural, eats organic. The things that put in your body age you faster or age you slower based on what you put in. And she only eats organic fruits and vegetables and meats. That's all she does, or cage-free, range-free, you name it. And that's been her entire life. So it's been awesome to watch her longevity, her energy. And this lady, I've never done this once. She actually rides a Peloton 10 to 15 miles a day every day for 10 years, and she will not miss. And she sets her own goals and does it outside of working with a trainer at our home in our gym 3 times a week and has for 20-something years. So this is somebody very dedicated to keeping herself healthy. You are a prime example of that also. And kudos to all of you. Just so you know, you can live longer lives, more energetic and youthful lives without all the alterations, the needs of hormone replacement therapy for most. And I just have to say, warning from the beginning, even from our previous segment, if any doctor tells you you need to have your uterus removed for a hysterectomy, and they call that a partial hysterectomy, you make sure and tell them, if I wake up and you tell me you took my ovaries without my consent while you were in there, I'm going to sue you for everything you own. This is a very common practice, and they did this to my wife 5 years before I ever met her. They put her under, said they were just going to take her uterus. Nope. Then when she woke up, they said, sorry, while we were in there and you were underneath anesthesia, we decided to take your ovaries also. And she has had to deal with me managing as much as possible the horrific side effects within 10 years of her losing her ability to produce her own multiple hormones from her ovaries. And if I was with her at that time and knew her and I was married to her, then I would have threatened that medical doctor. I would have sued that medical doctor. No one on earth should be allowed to get away with taking things out of your body without your consent. Ever,
Right.
ever. They should allow you to wake up, tell you what they found, and then ask for your permission. Once again, do not do that. It will wreak havoc on your life if you don't preserve your hormone-making organs. It's very commonplace.
Or give you a shot that you don't agree to. Dr. Ardis, I'm going to have to wrap it there. We're going to have to go like a whole hour show sometime. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon. Go out and get Dr. Ardis's book, The COVID-19 Lies. Is that it?
Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies.
Moving Beyond COVID-19 Lies. I have it. I've read it. I'm going to go back and read it again. Thank you, Dr. Ardis.
You're welcome. God bless you guys.
My fondest memory of World War II was the day when victory was declared over the Axis.
We are blessed to live in freedom, blessed to live in peace, blessed with food and shelter, blessed with life on lease.
Rav Family, our very own Beau Davidson, is releasing a powerful new patriotic anthem called Blessed, a heartfelt tribute to the brave men and women who served our nation and protected our freedom. We truly are blessed to be Americans. Scan the QR code now to download Blessed by Beau Davidson. And let's do our part to run this song up the charts as a thank you to those who served and sacrificed for our country.
We are
Joining me now is Beau Davidson. Beau, welcome.
Shemane, thank you so much for having me. It's honestly an honor and a privilege to be here.
You know, I saw that song. I got goosebumps now just seeing the bumper. What made you want to do that, and why is it so important right now?
It's important right now for so many reasons, Shemane. I think, patriotism has waned in our country. As I looked at, I'm a millennial. I'm on the high side of that. But as I looked at my generation and younger, it became uncool to be patriotic for some strange reason. And I've always been patriotic. My grandfather served in the Philippines. My dad was in the reserves. I never served, but I became an artist. And, as an artist, the one thing we can do is, and you know this from having a husband that's a performer as well, that you perform, you put your artistry into words. And when thoughts become so grand that you can't express them any other way, you put them into music. And I just kind of started thinking about some basic concepts, Shemane. What is courage and honor and glory and duty? These are military words we hear, but do they still exist? And the answer is, of course they do. They're embodied within us in the very fabric of America, but you have to wake up to see them. You look outside, you look at the immense blessings that we have in this country. Blessed to live in freedom, blessed to live in peace, blessed with life on lease, blessed to gather freely, blessed to have a voice, my goodness, blessed that someone brave or fault like those you see in the video so that you and I could have a choice. That's the whole point, and that's why I wrote the song the way that I did. So I felt it was timely, I felt it was contemporaneous, and at a time, honestly, Shemane, when I saw a lot of artists bashing America, I wanted to do something that uplifted this country.
You know what, Ted, we've been married for 37 years, and I've seen him have what you would call peers, musicians who have been told, don't talk about politics. And Ted's one of the only that will, and really famous musicians that you have heard their names before won't even dip their toe in the water because they know that their breadcrumbs, their checks, their paychecks are coming because they stay silent. And you just said it. We've got to wake up. And I think one thing that COVID showed us is that so many of us woke up. I got banned on TikTok for doing a 6-second lip syncing video asking President Trump when he was coming back. We couldn't talk about the things that were important to us. I couldn't say the words ivermectin. And, now it's exactly what you're saying, Beau. So thank you so much for being such a lighthouse for people who really are looking to, I need to voice my opinion. I need to speak out because I end this show with Esther 4:14. Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. And Beau, you were certainly born for such a time as this.
Well, thank you. We've got Flag Day this weekend, Shemane. We've got the UFC fight. We've got the Army's 251st birthday. We have President Trump's birthday. We have the kickoff to the World Cup. There's so many patriotic things happening right now in our 250th year, Shemane, that how could you not just be ebullient with American pride right now? But here's another important part of this song. It's about blessings. It's about divinely inspired blessings unique to us as Americans. I want to be very clear about this. This is not about Beau. This is not about the song I wrote. It's about literally about paying homage to those who came before us, the sacrifices that were made, and the fact that this nation is divinely inspired to do great things. The 7 veterans that were a part of this were incredible. I didn't prompt them with what to say. I said, just please share what's on your heart. What makes you feel blessed to be an American? What does freedom mean to you? And if you'll go and you look at the YouTube video, you'll see it's about a 5-minute long video that you're seeing right now of what those veterans felt it was to have unique American blessings. And I thought it was amazing what they shared. And I made this video in cooperation with the Pentagon and the Air National Guard, who couldn't have been more hospitable and generous. But I'm just honored. I think, musicians have a unique responsibility, I believe, and I think we have a divine calling as well. And I believe God put this song on my heart. And I just hope that those who are out there paying attention to it, listen to it, and feel the same way that I felt when I wrote it.
Well, it is a divine blessing. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. How can people find it and watch it and follow you on social media?
Absolutely. You see the QR code on your screen. You just can scan that. You can go and download the song on iTunes, which I hope you do. Again, not for my benefit, for this country's benefit. We want to make a good run on the charts. It's going to be in the Christian category, which I think is very important. Real America's Music is doing some great things. So just download the song from that QR code, and you can find the video on YouTube.
Well, I've got a song idea, Beau, and I might need you to sing it for me. I am married to a guy that plays the guitar, so he could do the soundtrack for it. But yeah, I might call on you for that.
I would love it. I was trained as a singer, and I've always welcomed the opportunity for collaboration. So you know what? We may have something going.
We need a new Faith and Freedom soundtrack. So are you in?
Yeah, absolutely. Count me in. I'll do it. I sing in so many styles. Shemane, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, so I bring that blues soul component. But then I was trained classically, so I run the gamut in terms of style. So whatever you throw my way, I guarantee I'll be able to handle it. So I'd love to be part of anything collaboratively you want to do.
Well, thank you again so much. God bless you. And we hope that it rises to the top of the charts to show people, yeah, exactly what you said. We are blessed. We need to put this country first. It's got to be America first, America first, America first, especially now more than ever. So thank you, Beau.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shemane, for having me.
Okay, it's been quite a show here from Ted's Man Cave Cuckoo's Nest. It's not bad, right? You got Ted's background, you got some guitars, and there is a painting of our dog Happy. Lots of important things, bows and arrows and guns and all of that fun stuff. We want to end on something to make you smile. There's so many things going on in this world right now. And one of the things I wanted to talk to Bryan Ardis about, Dr. Bryan Ardis, is about living in fear and how we really can't do that anymore. One of the things that I do is I get down on the floor and I play with my dogs. Find and follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Shemane Nugent. And sometimes I post dancing videos and videos of my pets. Check out my stories, because I post a lot of things on my stories. I'm also on YouTube /Shemane, on Facebook and Twitter or X, and sometimes Rumble, but especially right here on Real America's Voice. You can check out my books. I've written a couple of them, actually 4, but 2 of them are still available on Amazon. One is called Killer House, and that's my story, my journey about toxic mold, and really why I'm here right now. Toxic mold almost killed me. And it set me up for being a seeker. And when doctors told me that, there's nothing wrong, it's all in your head. But I felt like I was dying. In fact, Ted had to rush me to the hospital on several occasions, twice for having heart attack symptoms. And they sent me home. And then a couple of times because I had migraines so bad, I literally thought I was going to die. I don't want that to happen to you, which is why I put all of my tricks and tips and remedies and my whole story about what happened to me and how we lost our MTV Cribs home to toxic mold. You can read all about that in the book Killer House. Get yours on Amazon today. And then I had to follow it up with something a little bit more friendly and upbeat. And I've been in the fitness industry since 1980. Like, that's a long time, dude. A long time. I've seen a lot of trends come and go, and I'm going to share with you what works and what doesn't. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I'm 63. I'll be 64 in a few weeks, and I don't really do anything particularly special. There are a couple things. Get rid of toxins, shut off your phones, after 9 o'clock at night, and then make sure that it's outside of your bedroom, not anywhere near your bed. But I put everything into Abundantly Well. So go check out Abundantly Well and Killer House. They're both available on Amazon. Thank you so much for joining me. Go support the sponsors who support this show. I'll see you right here next week for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. God bless you and have a great rest of your day.